In an era of unprecedented change, businesses are experiencing a profound transformation driven by the advent of artificial intelligence and generative AI technologies. These innovations offer vast opportunities for redefining business models and competitive strategies, becoming an AI fueled organization. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Analytics Insight podcast, where we talk about the ever evolving tech space. And I'm your host, Priya Dialani. Now, according to a recent survey, AI has rapidly transformed the world around us, with 70% of organizations already using AI. Also, AI use cases have been expanding and it is now used for automating processes, developing new products and services, and all in all, gaining a competitive edge across industries. Now, this also applies to the field of innovation. Companies integrating AI into their processes can gain a substantial advantage over their competitors. Now, that's why AI driven innovation is something organizations should take a close look into. Today, Kishore Seshagiri, Chief Digital Officer at Broadridge India, will help us understand the need of AI driven innovation and how businesses can transition to an AI driven innovative company. Hi, Kishore, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Priya. How about you?
I'm doing good too. Thank you. So it's a pleasure to have you with us on our podcast. And to be honest, it's a pretty interesting topic for me where we are trying to cover more insights around AI-driven innovation. Of course, we'll be diving, deeper into this aspect. But before that, we would like to know more about Broadridge. So, what exactly, Broadridge is? What are certain solutions Broadridge offers? If you could help our listeners understand that.
Sure, Priya. First off, it's a pleasure and privilege to participate in your podcast. Hopefully, over the next 30 minutes, we'll have a conversation that enlightens the listeners on how AI is transforming the industry, specifically the financial services industry in which Broadridge operates. To help listeners understand who or what is Broadridge, so Broadridge, we are an NYSE listed fintech grown-up. And what do we mean by a fintech grown-up, right? It's a term that probably most of your listeners would find it novel. We've heard fintech, we've heard grown-up. Broadridge is a fintech grown-up, right? What do we mean by that is we've been, over the last 6 decades, providing the critical infrastructure, technology solutions, and operational services that drive the capital markets, wealth, and investment management solutions, and corporate governance, right? And over the 6 decades, we've always been a trusted and transformative player, helping the industry transform every decade, right? And so now we are at a stage where emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, cloud, digital is playing a very prominent role in financial services. And what Broadridge does is we bring our technology expertise, we bring our domain and subject matter expertise, we bring our intelligent, data-driven solutions that help the industry and our clients be ready for the transformation, embrace the transformation, and change their business models and operating models. So that's what Broadridge does, right? Some statistics around, what is the level of services that we provide to the financial services industry, largely the North American, EU and UK market and the APEC markets, is that we process close to 10 trillion US dollars worth of transactions daily. And we manage over 7 billion communications, both digital and print, to investors and various shareholders, right? So that sorts of sets or gives the idea of the data that resides in Broadridge systems or transits through Broadridge systems, right? And it is only then very natural for us to really work with our customers and the industries to start thinking about how this data is going to be helpful for the industry to meet industry challenges, and start looking at things like responsible and ethical application of artificial intelligence, right? So I just wanted to give you a context and background about Broadridge. We've been, as I said, providing solutions to Wall Street for the last 6 decades. Coming to Broadridge India has been operating for more than 2 decades. Broadridge globally has around 15,000 associates. Broadridge India has slightly more than 5,000 associates. That gives you and the listeners a context of the significance that Broadridge India plays in Broadridge. We are based out of Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Mumbai. We've grown similar to most global capability centers in the sense that when we were set up, we were largely a delivery center. Today, over the last 2 decades, we have significant technology, product, and the domain expertise, and are contributing to some of the most critical strategic initiatives of Broadridge, be it emerging technology, be it expanding our solutions in different geographies. And so eventually now Broadridge India is a very important intellectual hub and capability hub for Broadridge.
Great. Thank you for giving that brief overview of Broadridge and Broadridge India. And definitely, it's interesting to know about the capabilities or the solutions that Broadridge offers in terms of improving the entire financial landscape. Likewise, having said that, we would also like to know more about you, Kishore. So, if you could tell us, how has the journey been till date? What's your role and contribution towards the company, and what probably triggered your interest at Broadridge.
Yeah, sure, Priya. I've been with Broadridge now for 26 years. Joined this organization when it used to be part of a larger organization called Automatic Data Processing. Um, After completing my engineering, started as a programmer, and over the last 2 decades, played various roles in engineering, product, strategy, business development, and in the last 6 years, or maybe slightly more than 7 years, I've been leading our innovation and emerging technology center of enablements that support all our business globally. And my current role as a chief digital officer, I lead a group which can be looked at as an horizontal innovation, engineering, and product support function called the RISE group. RISE stands for Research, Innovation, Strategy, and Engineering. What we do is we help the various businesses in Broadridge with their innovation strategy. The research aspect of it is largely looking at what's happening out there in the industry, understanding the trends, and understanding the various emerging technology and transformative technologies that are out there. And the key value that we bring in is to be able to understand this and apply this to the context in which Broadridge is operating, right? Um, Far too often we've seen that a lot of this emerging technology starts to disappoint people when they find out that the hype around the technology is not really meeting the reality, right? And if you really dig deeper, you would see that many times the technologists have not really collaborated with the right subject matter experts and the product people and the business leaders to really figure out what is the best use of this technology to solve a real world problem. And so this group, the RISE group, the key value that this group brings in is to be able to work with all these key stakeholders from different functions and help them with education around many of these emerging technology and learn from the business on how this technology could solve problems that they are trying to solve and build things in an innovative manner, in a very iterative manner, right? Wherein you start seeing the results of this innovation in a fairly agile manner than what it would have taken if a business unit were doing this in isolation. So that is a sort of summary of what this group does, and I lead this group, Priya. And one of the things that's happening in the financial services is the financial services industry is highly complex, right? And for an organization like Broadridge, um, it becomes very challenging to be able to address the complexities that this industry presents and help our clients drive their digital transformation faster. And the only way to do that from a technology lens is start thinking platforms, right? And so this group is also involved in supporting Broadridge's enterprise platform and platform engineering groups. We are really looking at building services that can enable the businesses to build their solutions faster and also mutualize the costs that one would invest in building this new technology solutions.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, Kishore. Quite fascinating, I must say. Moving ahead, I think when we're talking about AI-driven innovation, now we define innovation as implementing new ideas that result in a positive change, right? So AI technologies can definitely help drive innovation as they can be utilized in several ways, from developing new products and services and to even enhancing the existing ones. But while AI has the potential to lead a positive change and drive innovation, it can't do it by itself. A lot of factors come into play when we are trying to deploy AI. So, what does AI-driven innovation exactly mean to you, and why it is critical for businesses today?
Yeah, interesting question, Priya. And I was as I was listening to you, I think you sort of made a very interesting point, right? That in your view, innovation has to be something that brings a positive change, right? And I'm reminded of a conversation that I was having with a professor, and he sort of summed it up as well. A lot of people would look at innovation as new, novel ideas, creative ideas, but the reality is, successful innovation is something that, as you pointed out, brings a positive change, right? That positive change could be through new revenues, could be through making a process more efficient, cost efficient, maybe bringing reduction in risks, right? It could take different forms and shapes, the positive change that we're looking for. So I think it is very important for listeners to understand and appreciate the fact that a successful innovation does not stop with just having a great idea, right? A successful innovation is something where the idea gets implemented in a very practical and pragmatic manner that generates value to everybody in the ecosystem, that generates value to all in the all stakeholders, right? So that I think that is very important. Like we need to understand what innovation is before we jump into what do we mean by AI-driven innovation, right? The way I look at it is, an AI-driven innovation is where you apply artificial intelligence in a very meaningful, responsible, ethical, and pragmatic manner, right? There is this um, rush towards people assuming that all the problems could be solved by using AI, keeping aside the fact that if you're a startup and you say that you're using artificial intelligence, you probably be having a lot of venture capitalists being interested in talking to you, right? Keeping that aside, that artificial intelligence-driven innovation is obviously the meaningful use of AI technologies in your products, in your services, in your ways of working that help you be more efficient, be more productive, and in some cases, build disruptive, transformative solutions, right? That's how I look at AI driven innovation. Some examples of how this could be used or how this is happening in the financial services industry, specifically the capital markets industry that Broadridge operates on. Some examples that I could share is that this whole U.S. markets moved to what is called as a T+1 model, which means that if you and I are doing a trade, exchange of securities and cash, typically it used to take T plus 2 days. T is the date in which the trade happened, and it takes 2 days to settle. And you typically have technology to process this, and then there is set of people who are managing these operations, right, as the to support all the post-trade activities. Now, as the industry has moved to T+1, and possibly we could look at a T+0, which means same-day settlement or intraday settlement or real-time settlement in the future. What it means is, if you really look at it, the operations team or the people involved in this process are going to get less and less time to perform their functions, right? And in this process, potentially, if this process continue to remain manual, the probability of errors um, and the associated risks are fairly high, right? Because you're operating in a scenario where the time that you now have to complete certain functions is lesser than what it used to be. And these are some of the reasons which drive the value of applying things like AI on to help the operations, right? Um, so Broadridge, for example, we've been one of the first fintech financial services provider to build a GPT enabled solution called OpsGPT, which is really focused on how can AI augment the human operations team, right? And act as a digital labor to help perform your functions that reduce the risk, improve your operations productivity, and make you more efficient, right? I'm just giving an example of how AI driven innovation is transforming this industry, right? And all of us here, like our listeners and Priya, you and me, we use AI on a daily basis, right? Like be it Alexa or Siri or any of these tools that you use. I'm pretty sure that a lot of us are now finding it difficult going a day without using ChatGPT, right? So AI is becoming more prevalent, and we live in a world where essentially most of the solutions are being built for market size of one, right? Which means a personalized experience. And imagine in the wealth management industry, you have a choice of investments to make, and if an AI were to help you recommend a basket of investments that suits your investment needs, that suits your risk profile, that's probably suits your social philosophy that you may have on what corporates that you want to invest in. These sort of problems are the right problems where AI is getting used, right? And these are the areas where the AI-driven innovation is going to be really making significant impact in the next 12 to 18 months.
Right. Yeah, definitely makes sense. And thank you for helping our listeners understand certain areas or certain use cases as to where AI-driven innovation can make an impact across different industries. I would like to, shift gears to Broadridge now. Now, I believe at present,
Mhm.
Broadridge has 5,200 associates in India and that account for over 40% of the company's global strength. And as part of its multi-pronged growth strategy, more of the company's tech leadership is to be based and leading out of India for global operations. The company is currently processing a $10 trillion in transactions daily, and it has access to vast amounts of data, which is synthesized to create opportunities for clients to enhance their customer offerings. So, can you tell us more about, Broadridge's partnership with fintech startups or fintech partnerships to foster innovations?
Yeah, sure. So as you rightly pointed out, Broadridge India plays a very significant role in driving Broadridge's innovation strategy, right? Broadridge innovation to help our clients and industry, we look at it and we define it as the ABCDs of innovation, right? What does this ABCD mean? Artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud, and digital. Now, if you really look at these technologies, Priya, these technologies are very democratic in nature, right? What do I mean? The most exciting thing about something like AI is the fact that it is something that can be uh, used very efficiently by a technologist, a non-technologist, an operations person, a product person, equally well, right? And so, in the global context, um, India has a rich talent in things like AI and blockchain, cloud, etc. Right? Because when we say these technologies are very democratic in nature, the access to the technology, the access to the infrastructure is available equally well in India, and we just have this great talent with aspiration and attitude and wanting to drive themselves forward available in India, right? And it is only natural for a global multinational company like Broadridge to work with that talent and look at ways of how do we get some of these great work that's happening in the Indian startup ecosystem um, come into the mainstream, right? So what we've been doing over the last few years is that we wanted to help these startups thrive. It is not always about are there cool products and solutions that these startups offer that can be something that Broadridge can use. I think we are taking a more holistic view into this in terms of one, investing in this ecosystem so that the ecosystem thrives, right? Two is to be able to educate these startups, especially in the fintech world, on the problems of um, Wall Street or the financial services, and look at how some of these startups can think global, right? And to that end, what we have done is we're working with multiple reputed um, startup programs. Some examples are we've been working with T-Hub, which is the Telangana government's government and public infrastructure to help the startups thrive. We ran an accelerator program with T-Hub, specifically around um, problems centered around AI and Web3 and blockchain. It was well received. We had about close to 90 plus startups who were pitching what they were doing to us. We helped them connect with the VC ecosystem, and we had 9 startups which presented in our demo day, and we continue to look at how can we take some of these relationships further, right? So that is one example. We've also done a very similar program with the Indian School of Business, D Labs Venture Arm. We work very closely with them again on the AI and blockchain space. Uh, we are, as part of the great work that NASCOM is doing on helping the Gen AI startups, or the Gen AI Foundry program. Uh, Broadridge has supported, collaborated, and participated in NASCOM's efforts to help the startups on Gen AI. I think we've been um, providing mentoring to about 26 startups, helping them really bring their ideas to life. And we've also worked with the TAI Hyderabad, specific problem statements. We ran some hackathons with TAI Hyderabad. So we always are very keen to look at how can we help the ecosystem, right? I think it's we're taking a very long-term view on some of the work that we're doing in the startups. That if you help build the foundations, if you build the ecosystem, it'll be a more sustainable, thriving ecosystem, right? That sort of brings all these startups together with MNCs such as Broadridge.
Great. Yeah. I think it's pretty interesting and inspiring to see how Broadridge has been trying to stay ahead of the curve. And in terms of partnerships with fintech startups, I think it's really important as to how you can cater to the diverse needs in the financial landscape and, of course, foster innovation. However, I believe the journey not easy as it sounds. It is full of challenges. Deloitte's 2024 second quarter State of Generative AI in the Enterprise report reveals a crucial talent gap, with 37% of leaders acknowledging their companies are underprepared for AI disruptions. And despite this, 75% are planning to revamp their talent strategies within 2 years to include more training and reskilling. So when we're talking about, making or shifting from a traditional a tech-driven company to an AI-driven innovative company. What are certain steps, or how do you think that these companies can ensure a smooth transition while introducing AI into the innovative strategies?
Yeah, I think very interesting question again, Priya, and you're right, right? As I was saying earlier, that a lot of times the hype around any new emerging technology starts dying down once people start encountering these challenges and problems that they did not anticipate, right? Be it lack of the talent, be it lack of understanding of the first principles of any of these emerging technologies, and trying to find a problem to apply this technology rather than look at how do I apply these technologies for the right problems, right? So to me, I I think we should be looking at this through 3 different lenses um, to make any of these emerging technologies successful, right? And we will basically keep this in the context of generative AI that you brought about. So the first thing is I truly believe that any transformation is likely to be successful in today's world if it is driven by the technology organization, right? Um, but it is very important for the technology organization to work closely with the business and the operations and the product teams to really build an executable strategy on how the transformation would happen, right, over a period of time. So let's just take Gen AI, right? I think 3 key things here. One is are you addressing the right problems? If you have a right problem at hand, um, and is this the kind of problem that Gen AI makes the most sense, you would see, or you would give yourself more chances of success, um, right? If you just went by everybody is investing in Gen AI, so let's do something around Gen AI, but you're not really adding the AI there or the Gen AI there is not really adding value, even incremental value to what exists today, then the chances are that you're going to get disappointed with that technology, right? So in some ways, when people bring up these data and statistics, right, around the fact that a lot of projects have failed, in my experience, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing that many of these projects have failed, because what it means is, one, people have experimented, and without experiments, you wouldn't really know what any technology offers, and what whether the promises can be met. So it's good that experiments are happening. And two, all these failures are likely to really be helpful in the lessons that people can learn from them, and then continue to build on the technology so that it can solve problems, right? It is well known fact that any technology, it takes at least 10 years to sort of start being successful in the mainstream. And for things like Gen AI, I think we are still in the very nascent stage. So I wouldn't really be too much bothered about the fact that many of these projects are failing, right? But for them to be successful, as I said, one is the right problem, and two is the right talent, right? And to me, I think um, people who are curious to learn more, people who are very proactive in understanding the fundamentals of how a technology works, are going to be more successful. And obviously, there has to be an investment that companies should make in reskilling the talent, because you're not going to be able to get um, talent on Gen AI so easily, right? It's going to be difficult. And so you need to have a clear reskilling strategy around how do I make the talent that I have be Gen AI ready and be Gen AI capable. As an example, in Broadridge, what we've been doing is we have launched something called AI Academy, all right? And what the AI Academy, and the interesting thing is this AI Academy is something that we want every single associate, right from our CEO to somebody who's joined Broadridge just yesterday, take up courses in the AI Academy. We mandated that every associate should sort of completed the foundational courses, which is around about 12 hours, and then subsequently people who want to pursue and work in AI projects also take up advanced courses, right? And there's rich material available. There are many parts to follow in building this talent. One, in-house, to partner with the hyperscalers, partner with OpenAI, partner with Google, partner with Microsoft, partner with research and strong academic institutions, um, and understand the what's happening in the space, and build experiments around it, right? So what we've also done in Broadridge is, um, one of our product leaders led this effort to build what is called as AI power tools. And these tools allow people to use AI in their daily lives and see how AI is helping them. And we've also built it in a manner where it's almost an in-source, internal open source, community driven platform where people can build their own AI power tools and contribute. So this is an example of what I'm learning in the AI Academy, and how do I put that learning by building these AI power tools, right? So this is a way of building the right talent. And the third key aspect to making Gen AI projects successful is the right ways of working, right? If this is happening in isolation with some of the technologists who are really enthusiastic about Gen AI working together, trying to build a solution. Um, the probability that it would succeed is going to be very minuscule. The right way of working for making any AI project successful is you build strong cross-functional teams which bring expertise from product, from business, from technologies, and they operate in a very agile manner, in an iterative manner that sorts of, allows the team to take decisions on pivot or persist based on what the AI is telling you, right? So AI projects are doomed to fail if somebody were using a waterfall model. Agility is very important in making some of these Gen AI projects or even traditional AI projects successful, Priya. So I would again sum it up as, are you using Gen AI for the right problem? Do you have the right talent with the right talent mindset? And do you have the right ways of working to make this successful?
Great. I think that was pretty impressive, Kishore, and I'm sure our listeners would definitely have gained some insights that could help them in shifting smoothly or transitioning smoothly to an AI-driven, innovative organization. So I think eventually AI-powered innovation is transforming the innovation landscape and it's unlocking growth opportunities. And as AI technology continues to evolve, we can anticipate and a widespread integration of AI across industries, and it will empower tech systems to become even more intelligent. And eventually, this can help companies in benefiting from increased efficiency, boosted market competitiveness, cost savings, and in a wide range of data. So, thank you so much, Kishore, for sharing your expertise on the role of AI-driven innovation and how the financial landscape is evolving and what is the role Broadridge is playing here. It's been an eye-opening discussion, and I'm sure our listeners gain a lot from it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Priya, for providing Broadridge and me the opportunity to share our views on AI. And I would also recommend that the listeners who are interested in understanding AI, you know, listeners who are in various career roles and various career experiences, Google does have a website called Teachable Machines. I think it's a very interesting website to start understanding AI, and how do you use AI in your lives.
Great, thank you so much. I think that was a very interesting a fact to be shared with our listeners, and probably they can definitely look up on the website and gain more knowledge about AI. Well, this is for our listeners. Thank you for tuning in to today's podcast episode. And don't forget to subscribe, and we'll be back with more exciting discussions on technology and innovation. Until then, stay curious and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI and technology. Thank you so much.